Chapter 12. Reproduction in plants. Let's begin. If we plant small saplings along a hedge and water them regularly, after a few days what will you notice? You will find a green patch covering more area than that of sapling which you planted a few days ago. This is because the sapling which you have planted has reproduced its types, that is, new plants. This is called reproduction. The process of producing young ones is called reproduction. It is a basic feature of all living organisms. Plants reproduce by three means: asexual, vegetative, and sexual reproduction. Let us understand these processes in detail. Asexual reproduction in plants. The formation of a new plant from a single parent is called asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction takes place in three main ways in different plants. 1. Budding. 2. Fragmentation. 3. Spore formation. 4. Vegetative propagating. Budding. Microscopic single-celled organisms like yeast and fungus reproduce by budding. A small outgrowth called bud is formed on the parent body, which grows independently into a separate organism by sharing the nucleus of the parent body. This separate body, including the nucleus, is called a daughter cell that grows in size and eventually breaks off. A chain of buds may be formed on a parent, which is called a colony. Let us see how budding occurs in yeast through an activity. Fragmentation. It is a common form of asexual reproduction in algae such as Spirogyra, a multicellular algae found in ponds and fresh water. It is also called pond silk because of its filamentous, slimy green texture floating on the surface of pond or in dirty drains. It is a ladder-like organism having a spiral chloroplast, and it also contains nucleus. An adult organism just breaks up into two or more pieces called filaments or fragments. Each of these filaments grows into a new plant. Spore formation. You might have seen a stale bread with green patches. If observed under a microscope, you will find threads like hyphae with knob-like structures called sporangia. Each sporangium has hundreds of spores. They are protected by a thick wall under unfavorable conditions. Once these conditions are favorable for germination, these sporangium bursts, causing the dispersal of spores into the air. A spore germinates into a new mold or a plant. Plants such as mosses and ferns multiply asexually through spores. Vegetative reproduction. A type of asexual reproduction in which the vegetative parts of some plants like roots, stem, and leaves can be used to produce new plants is called vegetative reproduction. Vegetative propagation by modified roots. Plants like sweet potato, dahlia, etc. are propagated through roots. Buds develop at the base of these plants and grow by taking nutrition from these swollen modified roots. So, apart from providing support to the plant, roots also store food. Vegetative propagation through stem. Stems are the common parts which are used for vegetative propagation. This can be of different types. Runners. To have a green lawn, we put plant grass at equal intervals, water them regularly and properly. After some time, this land piece turns into a lush green lawn. How do you think it happens? It happens because the grass has produced the underground stems. For example, oxalis, chrysanthemum, and strawberry grow through stems called runners. The different types of underground stems are discussed here. Rhizomes. Rhizomes are underground stems that have buds from which outgrowths are produced, which give rise to new plants, for example, ginger and banana. Bulbs. Underground stems which are enclosed by scales, modified leaves, serve as sites for food storage. In onion, you will find a bud called apical bud in the center. This produces leaves and flowers while the lateral buds produce new shoots of a plant. Tubers. Examine a potato closely. You will find depressions on it. What are they? They are buds, also called eyes, which give rise to a plant. Potatoes are underground stems called tubers. Corms, branched rhizomes develop into a new plant, for example, gladiolus and colocasia. Vegetative propagation by modified leaves. Plants such as bryophyllum have small buds at the margins of leaves, called adventitious buds. These buds grow into a new plant. Artificial methods of vegetative propagation. Cutting. A new plant can be grown from a cutting of the stem when provided with the suitable growing conditions. This is an artificial way of growing different varieties of plants. Rows and coleus grow by this method. Grafting. This method is used to grow ornamental and some improved varieties of fruit plants which are called hybrid varieties. Layering. This method is commonly used in grapes and jasmine. A young branch is lowered down and bent towards ground where it gets covered with the moist soil, forming a layer. Roots start appearing from it which grows downwards. The branch can then be cut off from the parent plant which is allowed to grow into a new plant. Advantages of artificial, vegetative, reproduction. The new plant is exactly identical to the parent plant. Only single parent is required in vegetative reproduction. It is a faster method of growing plant in large quantity. Plant which does not have flowers or seeds can be reproduced by this method. Disadvantages of vegetative propagation. It does not lead to variation in plant population. The plants are more prone to diseases that are specific to species. Tissue culture. Tissue culture is a method of growing plants from a tissue of a plant. In this method, small piece tissue of called explant is cut off from the growing tip of a plant. The tissue is then separated into cells called callus. These cells are put in a nutrient medium with controlled conditions. The nutrient medium consists of hormones that are required for division and growth of cells. Cells are allowed to grow into small plantlets in these controlled conditions. The plantlets are then transferred to pots with soil. Plants such as asparagus, orchids and chrysanthemum are grown through this method. Sexual reproduction in plants. A new plant is formed from the fusion of male and female gametes in sexual reproduction. It is carried out only in flowering plants. The flowers are the reproductive organ of a plant. A flower contains both male and female cells called gametes. Such flowers are called bisexual or complete flowers. When they contain either male or female gametes, they are called unisexual or incomplete flowers. Let us examine a flower closely. The female reproductive structures are called pistils or carpels, and male reproductive structures are called stamens. Stamens, they bear anthers which contain pollen grains. Pollen grains carry male gametes in them. The filament supports the anther. Pistil, the pistil is made up of three parts: stigma, style and ovary. The style is a long tube which has sticky stigma above and an ovary below which contains female gametes called ovules. Mature plants flower. The flower, after undergoing pollination and fertilization, becomes a fruit. A fruit bears seeds inside them from which a new plant develops. Pollination. It is the process of sexual reproduction in which pollen grains from anther get transferred to the stigma. The process of carrying pollen grains from one flower to the stigma of the same or another flower is called pollination. The male gamete in the pollen grains of anther needs to reach the female gamete in the ovary where fertilization occurs. Pollination is of two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination. In self-pollination, the pollens of anther are carried to the stigma of the same flower. Cross-pollination. In cross-pollination, pollens from anther are carried to the stigma of another flower of the same kind. Agents of pollination. Pollination is carried by various pollinating agents such as wind, water and insects. Now we will discuss each of them in detail. Wind blows away pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower. The flowers that are pollinated by wind are small, but without color, and do not produce nectar. Such type of pollination occurs in wheat, Rice and Maj. Water. Water-pollinated flowers release their pollen grains into the water and are slowly carried to other flowers by water currents. Water pollination occurs in seagrass Vallisneria. Insect. Insect-pollinated flowers have a sweet smell, brightly colored petals, which are rich in nectar. Insects get attracted towards them for nectar. When they sit on the flower, pollen grains stick to their bodies, and when they visit another flower, the attached pollen grains fall on the stigma of that flower. Fertilization. After the landing of pollen grains on the stigma of a flower, pollen grains start growing into a thin tube by absorbing nutrients. The pollen tube keeps on growing until it reaches the ovary where it takes entry into it. The male gametes are carried inside the pollen tube, and from there they are released out and fuse with the female gametes present there to form eggs. This fusion of male and female gametes is called fertilization. A zygote is formed after fertilization. Fruit and seed formation. After fertilization, ovary enlarges to form fruit. The wall of the ovary becomes the fruit wall. The ovules become the seeds. A fruit may have one or more seeds. Petals, sepals and other parts of the flower dry up and fall off. The fruit is the seed-bearing part or the ripened ovary. The process by which embryo in the seed becomes active and begins to grow into a new plant is called germination. Seed dispersal. The process by which seeds of fruits are scattered is called seed dispersal. The seed, enclosed in the fruit, needs to separate from its parent plant before it can develop into a new plant. Both seeds and fruit together form the dispersal unit. If the seeds of a fruit fall off simply near the parent plant, it won't grow well due to the overcrowding. Wind dispersal. Seeds are set free by opening of the fruit either by explosion or by bird bite. Some seeds have wings which form parachute-like structure so that they can be easily carried to long distances even by the gentle breeze. Drumstick, maple and poppy fruit seeds are dispersed by wind. Water dispersal. The spongy covering of some seeds of fruits like coconuts and water lily floats on the surface of water. They are carried to great distances by oceanic currents and waves. Mangrove plants in Thailand are another example of plants whose seeds spread through water. Animal dispersal. Fleshy, juicy and brightly colored fruits are eaten by animals and birds repeatedly. Sometimes seeds stick to their beaks and sometimes it passes through excretion. As the animal moves, seeds or fruits are rubbed off by branches of shrubs or trees. Squirrels collect nuts and bury them as food for winters which grow into plant as sometimes they forget where actually they have buried them. Birds like parrot disperse seeds to other areas through their dropping.